Hi all, this is Skate, and this is the video I mentioned in yesterday's video. It's basically a collection of 3 random masteries which I had yesterday. They're all in the same video because they have one thing in common. They are big, fat, nasty German tanks. They're also all classed as super heavies, although this one's technically a super heavy tank destroyer, but nonetheless, they're all super heavy tanks. But it made sense to put all 3 into one video and upload them as a collective. And truth be told, this Jageru mastery, I felt it was a bit cheap. As in, that shot I was happy with though. I had better games yesterday in the Jageru than this game. I had several games with more damage, but they were all firsts. This one was a mastery. But I wanted to include all 3 in the video, and although I don't feel it's the best of gameplay, I do feel it highlights some points in terms of gameplay on this tank. Now I have got an in-depth review on all 3 of these big German super heavies on the channel, so if you are looking for something in-depth on one of these 3 tanks, feel free to go check that video out. Now, in the position I'm in at the moment, you'll notice none of these tanks want to push me because they don't know how much backup I've got. And I'm in a strong position. My lower plate is covered and I have cover in front and behind. However, I think they've just realised I'm alone. So now I'm getting rushed. And this is the thing every single turretless tank destroyer driver worries about. Medium tanks. Trying to circle them. Except the one thing I always do is try and make sure there's hard cover behind me, so they can't do a full circle. And you'll notice I reversed up to it in preparation. Now this is something tank destroyer drivers love. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. Tanks with soft sides or soft armor parking up in front of you. I was 1200 hit points off that AMX. Now there is a Leo behind me, but he keeps tracking me, fair play to the guy. And he's tracking me, not doing damage every time. And I'm not too worried about him at the moment because I know my team is on that side and working their way around. So hopefully I survive long enough to deal with, well, there you go, and now to deal with this guy with another HE shot. So that's 2-shotted. That's a tier 10 heavy tank which just got 2-shotted. And now there's an IS-7 on my side. You'll see I'm trying to angle like holy hell up the bridge. And we did bounce his shot. And he's the last one left. And you can see what I mean by how on earth is this a mastery? Because, well, the game's over already. It's just this one tank left. He bounced the Death Star. I put my shot at a silly angle, so I also bounced. But he's not getting away now. I do a little bit of ramming damage, and we keep him in position. I reverse back. One tank shoots him, and now the Death Star we know is pretty much guaranteed to finish him off from that angle. And that's the end of that game. But it's an interesting one, because we managed to stop a very aggressive rush, and it gave the rest of our team time to come around, which means we did 4,464 damage. I think like 2,000 of that was in 2 shots. And here's part of the reason why. Assistance damage, 2,500 assistance damage. We got shot 12 times, 5 bounced, and some were just track damage. So it was a very quick game, but it was a very good game. I was also very lucky / unlucky by the fact that the team, well, the red team, all rushed my way. On to the E100 though. Now in this one, something I don't think I've ever featured on the channel, I'm in a platoon. I am Pros44, who is a subscriber to this channel. My plan originally was to go down to A. However, if you look at the map, it's looking very sparse up towards C. So, being as my platoon buddies head in that direction, I thought best to go towards B. I'm in the happy medium between both C and A at that point, so I can help him if required. And there's already one tank spotted up by C. And I'm in a position that we can get a shot off on him. And again, I'm surprised that hit because we didn't even aim. And there is another tank up there now, and there's another one. So they are outnumbered, and the other green tank which is up there has just taken a beating and is now dead. Which means he is now alone against 3 tanks. So I need to help him. And there's a Leo. And there's a HE shot. And he's reversing down the hill. He's heading my direction. And you can see I'm cautious if there's any tank destroyers on the right hand side. But I need to make a push and help. So I've gone across. There were no tank destroyers in that position to do any damage to me, and now I'm comfortable to work my way up and help him with the 3 tanks which are up in this position. He gets one shot into that T-54, and he's tracked him just behind. I'm going to fully aim this HE shot, but we do finish him off. And then we bounce one from the AMX 5120, and it looks like my platoon buddy's making a push for it. However, he backs up, and I sadly accidentally block him as a result. I need to push up first, though, really, because I'm the one with the armor, so that's exactly what I'm going to try and do, is get all up in the faces of these tanks. Because that's what E100s are good at. The downside, though, is I'm very slow trying to get up hills, so there's a good chance that AMX can reload in the time frame it takes me to get up. Now, I did bounce the AMX again, however, something put a meaty shell up my rear end, which set me on fire. However, we know that AMX is pretty much going to be on a reload now, and it means we can quite comfortably finish him off. In the time frame of doing that, I sadly lost my platoon buddy to a 268 from across the map. Hopefully you guys know me well enough by now, and no, I'm not usually one to moan. I like to try and put together something constructive. Check out the minimap. There's 3 versus 4 left on this game. Look at where my 2 tank destroyers are, and pay attention to that during this engagement. Now, there's a Death Star by me, and there is an IS-7. I've capped C, and I'm now trying to get up into a side-scraping position. I'm angling as best I can against both of these tanks, and it's working so far. Ideally, though, I could do with help from those 2 on my team. Now, one of them's moving, and he's coming up this way, which is great. I really need the help. There is, obviously, a 268 chatting away. In global chat, I know there is an IS-7 in front of me. There's a Death Star in front of me, and now there is an IS-8 in front of me. It's not looking good, is it? But one of my friendlies just put a nice shell into the back of the Death Star, which has made him back off. IS-8 pushing one side. I do have cover, which means I could put one shell into him and angle now using the dead tank. I've angled to him. Now I need to try and angle to the IS-7. However, I couldn't turn my tank around quick enough, which is why I'm reversing further back. I'm loaded ready for the Death Star to come around the corner now, though. Which means we finish the Death Star, and now I'm not going to rush the IS-7. We know there's a 268 out there, and there he is. He's bounced me again. However, using the Death Star, I'm in front of the IS-7, which is now dead, and I'm protected from the IS-8 behind me. And now I'm going to try and side-scrape using the Death Star. In the position I'm in, I'm covered in front of me from the IS-8, and I'm covered on the right-hand side of me with that ridge. There's a little dune or hill there, which has protected me from the 268's fire. You'll notice as soon as I come below it, he managed to get his shot into me. And we are now winning on cap points. I do want to go down and spot this guy, even though I'm on low health, but we're going to win on points. And you'll notice one of the TDs is now with me, and the other one still hasn't moved. Now, I was a little bit preoccupied, so he could have been firing long range. I don't know, which is why I'm not moaning, but I am pointing it out as something which at the time I felt I could have done with a bit more help. But it did mean we did 5,255 damage, we got plenty of supremacy points, and we had 5 kills. And it was intense and it was fun. We were stuck up on that cap with several tanks pushing us at once. Big thanks to that Jagdtiger. On the off chance he ever sees this, there you are. We also got 1,500 assistance damage. But big thanks to that Jagdtiger for coming up and helping. We were shot 10 times in that one, and only 4 penetrated, which again is one of the things I love about these big German monsters. And of course, talking big German monsters and talking bouncing shells. Third and final replay of this video, the Maus. A behemoth of a tank. It is fantastic. Doesn't have the greatest DPM, but his armor is just so good when you angle it. Now, I'm pushing in this direction, hoping to reset B. As there are 2 tanks in there, I'm probably not going to, but I am going to get some shots into the IS-8. And you'll see I'm angling my hull in, and I'm trying to angle using that building. We're basically side-scraping at long range here. But the IS-8 does something I didn't expect. He's not reversing off like the IS-7, he's come forward. And you'll notice I stuck my adrenaline on straight away. because I was trying to maximize on that situation. However, there is a friendly tank behind me which did finish him off. And you'll see I've looked behind me and I've seen that there are medium reds there, and I don't want to be trapped between tanks in this direction and tanks over there. And tanks on my right, so I'm pushing, and I need to push aggressively, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do for the duration of this game. We're going to push non-stop. Well, let me get the cap first, and then that's the intention. We know there's some big nasty tanks just around the corner. However, there's a chance where I am right now that there's a Leo PTA from the Reds who is going to shoot me in the rear end. So I'm not going to hang around, we're going to just push. We're losing the game at this point in time, which is why I make the decision I do here. You'll notice there is an IS-7 on the right, but there is also a waffle on my left. Now I'm going to get one shot into the IS, and then I'm going to push for the waffle. And the reason I'm pushing him is because he has greens on both sides. By having greens on both sides, it makes him the weaker and more vulnerable target. In theory, making him easier to take out. And we can all fire HE at him to finish him quickly. That was my reason and our logic for trying to do that anyway. But that does mean we are now in a 4-on-4 situation again. I know there are medium tanks again on the left hand side, however I still have plenty of hit points and I want to stop them capping B. However, as I come around the corner I go, oh yeah, dead IS-8. So I load a premium round to finish off the IS-7 because with it being such a close battle, I want to guarantee that kill. It probably wasn't required, it was probably a little bit unnecessary, but I wanted to do it to be on the safe side. And now we're capping B again. And this is when I decide we need to chase the E100, because the E100 has the most health, and now we're in a 3-on-3 again. However, if you look at my friendlies, they're not very well armoured, and they have low hit points. I still have plenty of hit points, so my idea at this point in time is to basically be the sponge and distract the E100. At that point in time, though, the enemy Leo PTA, I'm assuming was after my Leo, but obviously didn't expect me to be there. And now we can just distract the E100, basically. You can see he was looking for my low health medium, he still is. However, we can push him and distract him and annoy him to get his attention because we have the hit points and the armor to absorb it for our team. And we're basically going in for a face-hugging competition now. And I bounced an APCR shell from his turret ring. And you'll see he's after my Leo. He does manage to finish the Leo. That's my fault. I should have pushed forward, not reversing. I was reversing for the lower plate. However, you'll see as soon as I realised the Leo, I pushed forward. However, it was too late. So that is my fault in my book. But it's pretty much the end of the E100. We did get one into his lower plate. And we did ram him sideways and do a little bit more damage. But that was a good game, and it was a fun game, and it was a very pushy game in the mouse. The end result was 5,193 damage, and we had 4 kills. We also had plenty of supremacy points, 376, and then, as well as the 376, we seized 150 base points from the Reds. So that's it. 3 big German monstrous tanks and 3 masteries from yesterday. I hope you have enjoyed this random compilation along with yesterday's strange compilation. But thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.